Will he or won't he? Embattled FBI agent Peter Strzok subpoenaed by 2 House committees to testify in public on Tuesday. But his lawyer has signaled he may not comply. This after Strzok testified behind closed doors for 11 hours last week over his alleged bias against President Trump during the 2016 campaign. And we should point out he led the Russia investigation on the Trump campaign and was on Mueller, the special counsel Mueller's team, until it was uncovered by the Inspector General. Joining me now, Chris Swecker, a former FBI assistant director. Chris, are there any benefits? Do you think Peter Strzok's going to testify, and what's the benefit for either side to have a public hearing?
Well, I would say in a nutshell, not much benefit to either side, because Peter Strzok, even if he sat in that chair and raised his right hand, about the best he could do between the FBI's lawyers and his own lawyers would be to just state his name and where he worked. I think he'd like to get some PR in there and try to cast himself as a victim. So I think he personally wants to do this, but I see a lot of constraints on his testimony between sources and methods and the fact that he worked counterintelligence pretty much his entire career. So just about everything he did would be classified. We'd all like to know some things, and Peter Strzok was right in the middle of the non-investigation of the Clinton Foundation and Clinton emails and the genesis of the Trump/Russia investigation. So he has a lot to say. I just don't think anybody's going to let him say it.
Right. We have to point this out again and again, Chris, that this Russia investigation was officially opened into the Trump campaign on the last day of July in 2016. A little more than a week later, he sent that text message that the IG for the Department of Justice only got using Department of Defense technology, the one about essentially we'll stop it, meaning we'll stop Trump. And then it was a few days after that that insurance policy, talking about the Russia investigation, that text message that he sent. But when he was behind closed doors, his lawyer came out and said that this was just posturing and it was PR by members of the committee. So, again, that's why there's this push to have him testify in public and see how little he actually has to say.
Those are just boomingly significant text messages that even the Inspector General said clearly showed his state of mind, a very biased state of mind, and that he also said, the IG, that he had no confidence or had zero confidence that he did not use that or put that bias in play by delaying the email investigation after the Wiener laptop was discovered or the evidence was discovered. So, you know, clearly Peter Strzok is at the epicenter of just about everything that we've questioned about both investigations. I just don't think he might write his memoirs one day, but I think the FBI would be standing over him if he were testifying, saying you can't say this, you can't say that. He'll have a scoping letter in hand that restricts what he can testify about, and I think his own lawyer would be standing over him saying you can't say things that would incriminate you. So I don't think we'd learn very much from it. I think the next IG report is going to be very revealing. That's going to deal with the Russia/Trump investigation and the things that you just mentioned.
Speaking of that, because Fox News contributor and former chair of the House Oversight Committee, Jason Chaffetz, has been very positive about the work that the IG is doing and the impact and the outcome. He had this to say about the subpoena.
The only problem with issuing a subpoena is the only way to enforce a subpoena is the Department of Justice to enforce it.
That little issue.
But if he has been called, he has been subpoenaed. If he wants to come and testify and plead the Fifth, that's his right to do so. But I think America will get to. I can't believe that this guy still has a security clearance, let alone a job.
Yeah, why does he? Again, Chris, why does he still have a job? That's a head scratcher for so many Americans.
That's just the bureaucratic nuances of the civil service system. It has a process. It has to go through its process. He's going to get fired. He's on garden leave now. He's not coming back to the FBI. But let me mention the IG report. I think the IG's work was very thorough. I agree with Jason Chaffetz. It was all 570 pages of it were very revealing. But I think the conclusions were wrong at the end. But it was very revealing what the investigation revealed, and I hope that the next one that deals with what I think is a very questionable genesis of the Russia investigation is as thorough and as hard-hitting.
And by the way, we wouldn't even have these text messages if not for the Inspector General. We wouldn't even know about this bias within the FBI from Peter Strzok. By the way, he also hates Southern Virginians and folks who shop at Walmart. That was among the many texts that were revealed. Morgan, do you have a question for Chris?
Yeah, Chris Strom from Bloomberg is reporting this morning, Chris, that that Mueller is making more use of career prosecutors, U.S. attorneys from the Justice Department, and FBI agents, potentially looking maybe to lay the groundwork to hand off parts of his investigation. What do you think of that new report? Why would Mueller be reaching out to more career officials and bringing them on his team?
Well, maybe in response to some of the criticism about the composition of his team being very much towards Hillary Clinton and sort of the Democratic donors. There also may be what we call spin-off cases where you're digging and looking at a certain topic, and you start to see other things that aren't directly related to your core investigation, and you generally hand those off to the districts, the U.S. attorneys in the districts where those cases would have venue. So I do think that during the course of all of this investigation, they're digging up a few things that relate to business dealings and that sort of thing, and they may be illegal activities like Cohen, and they just refer them out to where they belong.
Chris, good to see you as always. Chris Swecker, take care and happy 4th.
Thank you.